Hey there, it's Nicole. Thank you so much for being here and helping me grow this channel. Your support means the world to me, and I'm so grateful for every view, like, comment, and subscription. Today, I've got something a little different for you. I'm thinking about giving my channel a fresh new name, and I'd love your help deciding what it should be. I've narrowed it down to my top 5 favorites, but honestly, I can't decide on my own. So I'm turning it over to you. So here's how to vote. Make sure you're subscribed, then scroll down to the comments and let me know what name is your favorite. You can vote by typing in the full name or just the corresponding number. Easy as that. So whether you've been here with me from the beginning or you're brand new to my channel, your input means so much. I'll tally the votes and I'll share the winning name in a video in about 2 weeks' time. So thank you so much for playing along. Now let's name this channel together. While I create a single page layout, I'll walk you through the 5 name options. So let's turn this camera around and get started. I'm working with the 6x6 DSP called Fruit Salad from Stampin' Up! To create this single page layout. It is such a fun paper, full of bright, fruity patterns, and of course, the B-sides are so great. I'm sure many of you have this in your collection or crafty stash. It was one of the celebration freebies back in February. Other than making a few cards, I wasn't sure what else to use it for, and I still have quite a bit of it left. Then the other day, while I was cleaning and organizing my craft room, I came across some old school projects and awards the kids made or received years ago. One of Evan's awards said something about spreading the seeds of happiness, and that made me think of fruit, which reminded me of this paper. And apples and school. And then I remembered I hadn't scrapbooked the picture of Evan receiving that award. So that's kind of how it all came together. I printed the photo to 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. Then I gave it a real red matte measuring 4 by 6. So since Evan is wearing red, I don't want to bring in too much of that color. So I'm leaning in the direction of this green pattern on the B side. I like the fun geographic design and it ties in well with the green apples. I already built the base layer off camera and gutted the center to save the paper for another project. You might recognize this background. It's from the Reindeer Memories Workshop kit, which is why the backside is white. It was one of the designated background papers. The black cardstock I trimmed to 11 by 11, and I'll layer the 2 6x6 pieces of the fruit paper on top of that. I don't know about you, but I love looking back at my kids' old crafts and assignments. They're growing up so fast, or should I say have grown up so fast. I can't believe it. My youngest, Evan, is graduating high school next year already. Now, for some added white space, I have this scrap of white cardstock that was left over from a previous layout. The corners weren't great, so I just rounded the corners and now it's perfect. I really love incorporating white space onto my layouts. Now I'll just layer those fruit papers back on top. This is going to be a fast and fun layout. Honestly, this video is more about chatting and getting your help with the new name, but I still wanted to document this special photo and any excuse to scrapbook, right? So for the title, I have this area left open right here on the top left, and I'm going to use stamps from the Storybook Life and Documenting the Day, which was another celebration freebie. I'm also bringing in the School Days stamp set to help me create some embellishments. Now this set did not come with dies, but the images are simple enough to fussy cut. For the first option of the name change, I have Nicole's Creative Table. It's friendly and inviting, like you're sitting down to craft with me. It's broad enough to include all kinds of content, not just scrapbooking. So very versatile, but that's also the downside, right? It's not super specific. So back to the layout. I thought the phrase documenting the special moments would be perfect for the title. The big question now, what color do I stamp it in? I'm using some school themed stickers from my stash, and blue shows up a few times in those. So to help tie in that color, I'm bringing in a mat of Azure Afternoon cardstock, measuring 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. There's a lot of blue in the photo in the background also. And while I don't want to draw too much attention to that, adding that pop of blue here, I think really works. I'm thinking black for the title to keep it grounded, but before I stamp it, I want to add little blue ink blending behind it. I'll mark where the layers sit with pencil, then move them aside, and I'll just grab a scrap piece of paper to place behind the cardstock. This gives me a spot to blot the ink and to protect the background. Not that I'm going to be ink blending all that far up, but you just never know. So I'm blending in a circular motion starting behind where the pattern paper will go. Just a soft blue glow for the title to live in. Yep, I like that. Bring that 6x6 paper back in. Super cute. I'm using my Misti to stamp the title. I've been enjoying using this lately. And if I'm careful, it works great with larger pieces of paper too. I'll place the stamps where I want them, ideally straight, then close the lid to pick them up. Now, since this cardstock is bigger than the stamp press, I like placing the magnet low on the paper. So now for the second name option, Nicole's Life on Paper. This one really speaks about what scrapbooking is all about, preserving life's moments. It has a warm, creative vibe and a strong storytelling feel. As for the con, there are a few other YouTubers here with similar names. I better ink that again for a better impression. When it comes to stamping titles directly onto the layout, I have to say I'm grateful for this tool. Let's ink that up, make sure it's good and covered. Yep, much better. I'm really using up some scraps here. So the white cardstock square felt a bit too short. So I found a scrap of white cardstock and rounded the 2 corners. I'll tuck it underneath. Perfect. No one will know it wasn't a full piece. Well, except for that seam. To cover that, I'm using a strip of the red polka dot paper, the same one I used for the base mat. It measures 1 by 12. I'll trim it down a bit later on in the process. So just for fun, I'm also adding this skinny black and white stripe. It's 1/2 inch by 12 inches. Like I said earlier, I'll be using some stickers from my stash for embellishments, and I've already prepped them by sticking them onto my anti-static pouch to reduce the tackiness. This makes them easier to move around on the layout, and they now become more like die cuts than stickers. I've got a couple circles I cut from black and white cardstock using die cuts from my stash. I'm using them to anchor the clusters and help them pop. One will also cover this corner of the pattern paper. It's a bit short, so this will trick the eye into thinking the piece is longer. So for embellishments, I've got a sticker that says, "Work hard, be kind, good things will happen." A perfect motto. There's also a stack of books, a sticker that says, "You can change the world," and a little green notebook. So from the school days stamp, I'm using the backpack and the apple. Now I might stamp a few stars in the background, but we'll see how things go. Score! I had this apple already stamped from a previous project and the red matches. Ah, I love that. Now I just need to stamp the backpack. Using Azure Afternoon, this scrap piece of white cardstock, there's room right here without moving the whole layout. I guess that's one perk of creating a single page layout. Less mess on the desk. Well, in theory, my desk usually looks like a bomb went off when I'm done. So this photo is from March 2017. Evan was in grade 3. Each month, the school held assemblies to give out basic awards, which stands for behavior, attitude, schoolwork improvement, and celebration. So this month, or that month, Evan was recognized for spreading the seeds of happiness in the classroom. The award said he's friendly, has a great sense of humor, and brings lots of laughter to the class. So basically, he's the class clown. And I love him for it because I was the same way as a kid. The last line in the award said, "Evan, you make every day brighter." How sweet is that? I really appreciate that the teachers took time each month to recognize unique strengths in their students. Both of my boys received awards each year for something special, and I've always loved that. I like to use sharp scissors to fussy cut my stamped embellishments. I find the best results are when I move the paper, not the scissors. This gives me more control. I trimmed the leaf off the apple because it was red. Now I could have stamped a green one and layered it on, but to be honest, I really didn't feel like it. We're just keeping things real here. For the third potential channel name, I have Nicole's Ink Spot. It's the closest to my current name, but shorter and maybe a bit more catchier. My current name feels long and doesn't roll off the tongue easily. As for the backpack, I'm approaching it in the same way, just leaving a small white border around when I fussy cut it out. So this name reflects the stamping and inking techniques that we all love and leaves room for other types of paper crafting. The only downside, it doesn't clearly signal scrapbooking and could be mistaken for tattoo videos. I think I'm going to trim about an inch off of the side of the apple pattern paper, just to clean it up a bit so it's not hanging over the white cardstock. As for the green DSP, I'm leaving it a full 6x6. I like how it looks. So let's switch that black and white circle again. Okay, I'm not sure, but what I do know is I want to ink the edges of all the pattern paper and cardstock with black ink. It's an easy way to define the paper layers and add some visual interest. All right, so now option 4, Nicole's Layers of Life. It's clever. Layers ties into scrapbook design, also hints the layers of life and memories. There's more emotion and a poetic tone to it. It's also flexible in case I ever branch out into other creative content. Now the downside is it might not immediately scream scrapbooking to someone new. Okay, I have everything inked up and I've adhered the fruit salad paper to the layout. I think I want the black one here, filling in this space. Yep, I like that. As for the 2 strips of paper on the bottom, which are doing double duty, they're creating a shelf for my photo to sit on. They're also hiding the seam. So I want the red strip to be just a bit longer than the white square. Let's cut that on an angle for something different. Not too precise, just about yay long. And the black and white stripe will just be a bit shorter. I like the black circle on the left. I think what's throwing me off is the white circle on the right. How about a granny apple green circle instead? This one is smaller, about 2¼ inches, and the black one is 3½ inches, by the way. Oh yeah, I like that much better. There's more balance now with the green, and I think I prefer that smaller one, the smaller size too. I'll bring the embellishments back in, layering them up for some visual interest. I'm going to place my stamped apple over the stack of books to cover the little apple that's already in the sticker, and I'll pop it up with some dimensionals. Last but not least, option 5 for potential name. Nicole's Scrapbook Stories. This one is very clear and descriptive. Viewers immediately know it's about scrapbooking. It also highlights storytelling, which I feel like it's a big part of what I do, especially since I'm focusing so much on getting my journaling on my layouts. I enjoy sharing the stories behind the photos. It's friendly and personal too. It's maybe slightly longer, but I think it still rolls off the tongue nicely. Before I attach the pattern paper strips to the bottom section of the layout, I want to repeat that soft blue ink blending down in the lower right corner, just to balance things out. I'm using the same technique as before, lightly applying just a small amount. I don't want to overdo it. And with ink blending, it's easy to go too far. I'm keeping it subtle, and I'm not planning on adding any more blending anywhere else on the page. That looks perfect. I love it. I found a sentiment in my stash that says, "Way to go," but I can't quite get it to work on the layout. But luckily I did find this congratulations. They are both from the same stamp set called More Messages. It's that one that you can stamp all the word sentiments in one and then die cut them all out at the same time as well. I think congratulations fits the space better, and I'll pop up just one side with dimensionals so that it sits level. I'm adding one more detail to the upper right corner to help form a visual triangle. I found this little sticker banner that reads school. It fits the space perfectly. I didn't go heavy on embellishments for this layout, but the mix I used, stickers and stamped icons, really works. I've repeated colors across the clusters to help tie everything in together, and even with just a few elements, it still feels complete and balanced. Off camera, I typed and printed out my journaling on white cardstock and cut it into strips. I like to use the putty end of the Take Your Pick tool to help pick up each strip. Add a small dab of glue and then place it back down without getting glue on my fingers. As I adhere each one down, I read the journaling out loud to make sure the story flows in the right order. So here's what I wrote. Today, March 21st, 2017, Evan received a basic award from his grade 3 teacher. His teacher said he was chosen for spreading seeds of happiness, thanks to his friendly attitude and great sense of humor. He's the kind of kid who makes others feel welcome, knows how to make people laugh, and brings a little bit of sunshine wherever he goes. It was a special moment watching him being recognized in front of his class. Way to go, Evan. We are so proud of you. I added some adhesive back dots for days, that's what it's called, in green and yellow, and placed them around the 2 clusters beside the photo. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope I gave you a few ideas, or at the very least, a little creative inspiration to get playing with your supplies. Especially if you have that fruit salad paper just hanging out in your stash too. And here's the actual award. I'm not sure if the boys will appreciate that I've held on to these things all this time, but I plan to tuck it in behind the layout.
So here's a close-up of the layout. Just a quick, fun page to document this special little moment. Let me know in the comments what you think of the channel named options I shared. I'd love your input in helping me pick a new name, and all feedback really helps. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you gave it a thumbs up. And don't forget, subscribe to my channel to get that vote in. This way, you won't miss any of my upcoming videos. I share scrapbook process videos, just like this one, at least once a week on Wednesdays, and occasionally I will throw one out there on a different day of the week. For still shots, head over to my Instagram page, and here's a video I think you'll enjoy next. So until next time, happy crafting.